Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session designed to assist an individual with stuttering. And there are many different causes of stuttering, and quite often stuttering is linked to a form of anticipation which can lead to self-auditing and self-correction while talking is actually taking place, quite often linked to feelings of anxiety or fear of judgment. And many people that stutter tend to feel more anxious about stuttering if they're in an environment where they're going to be judged or perceived potentially in a harsh way. And all of this can kind of add to a loop which kind of self-perpetuates and feeds on itself. One of the forms of stuttering comes from this thinking before, during, and almost after, this kind of heavy relentless on doing something that most people do without thinking. If you were to ask the average person, how much time do they think about what they're going to say before they actually say it? It's very, very low. Unless it's a important thing like a speech or a big meeting, most people don't think about those kind of things. And when I work with people that have a fear of public speaking or fear of doing big presentations, that's exactly what they are doing. They're taking something that they normally don't think too much about, which is communicating, and then they start thinking a lot about that thing. Stuttering tends to have an added dimension, which is because they've stuttered in the past, and that's been a cause of embarrassment or shame or awkwardness, then that raises the pressure, which then links emotion to doing the thing, and then they think a lot about trying to avoid that. So you get these loops quite often that feed on itself. This hypnosis session has a few elements of hypnosis, lots of disassociation. So in hypnosis, stories are very good to induce trance states, but also levels of disassociation, because you're hearing about characters in the third person, but it also has the extra level of disassociation that comes from hearing a story. So there is a story about a child that has a stutter and then recovers from that stutter. Lots of suggestions that is designed to reward the idea of trusting the unconscious and being free of a stutter, noticing improvements rather than setbacks, and then a level of staged disassociation where someone with a stutter can imagine observing themselves without the stutter, and when they're convinced the stutter is gone, then associate into that resource state. There's quite a bit going on here, and I think if you have a mild stutter or even a severe stutter, it would be good to get your feedback on whether or not this was useful. If it's on Spotify, you can just answer the Q&A question, what did you think of the show? Just answer it there. Or alternatively, message me on Instagram. So it's at Adam Cox Official, or drop me an email, which is adam@adamcox.co.uk. If you find this useful, let me know. Happy to do more content on stuttering, which can be very distressing for those people that have stutters, because there is a lot of judgment and there is a lot of anticipatory fear and a lot of anxiety around these kind of things. So if you find this useful, let me know. Equally, if you feel like I might be able to help you one-on-one, either with stuttering or some other form of anxiety or speech issue, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call to explore working with me. For now, though, find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. As you breathe in a resourceful feeling of relaxation and calm. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. Breathing in resourcefulness, exhaling any stress or tension, and if they aren't already closed, on the next outward breath, just allow your eyes to close, enabling you to feel like you're drifting deeper and deeper relaxed. As you breathe in and breathe out, feel your body getting heavier and heavier. Feel the tension being released in your neck and your jaw. And as you breathe in and breathe out, remember a time when you yawned, and by yawning, you released so much tension and felt so good and relaxed, and just remember that yawn. Breathing in and breathing out with your eyes closed, I want you to remember a moment when you were a child. And I want you to remember a time where someone was reading you a bedtime story. Maybe you were tucked up in bed, maybe on a sofa, or maybe it wasn't a bedtime story. Maybe it was a story in a school or a library. But just remember that time, being a child, listening to someone tell you a story. And as you remember that time of feeling relaxed and calm, I want you to remember how easy it was as a child, that when you heard a story, your imagination was so good that you could make pictures and movies in your mind's eye, following along with the story, sometimes as if you were the main character in that story. So breathe in and breathe out, feel relaxed, and just imagine that someone that you remember is about to read a story. In a quaint town nestled between rolling hills, a child named Sam lived with a persistent stutter. It wasn't that Sam lacked thoughts or feelings to share. Rather, their mind raced with a whirlwind of ideas, each clamoring for attention, sometimes causing their words to trip and falter. And one evening, as Sam gazed upon the tranquil waters of a nearby pond, a wise old turtle surfaced, breaking the mirror-like stillness. The turtle, sensing Sam's inner turmoil, began to speak. Its words slow and deliberate. "Young one," it said, "your mind is like this pond. When the winds of overthinking and self-doubt blow, it ripples, disrupting your reflection. Sam listened intently, their heart resonating with the turtle's wisdom. "You see," continued the turtle, "I was not always this calm. As a young turtle, I'd frantically paddle beneath the surface, always rushing, always doubting. But then I learned the magic of trust." The turtle paused, letting its words sink in. To trust is to let go, to speak without analyzing each word or fearing its outcome, to simply be in the moment. That night, as Sam lay in bed, their unconscious mind began to weave the turtle's wisdom into the very fabric of their being. The winds of over-analysis and self-doubt were replaced by the gentle breeze of trust. As days turned into weeks, Sam's stutter began to fade. Their words flowed smoothly, like the still waters of the pond, reflecting their true self. For Sam had discovered the magic within, trusting their voice and releasing the need to control every word. They realized that by simply trusting, they could speak their truth, clear and unburdened. And so, the child who once stumbled upon words became the storyteller of the town. All thanks to the wisdom of an old turtle and the power of trust. I want you to imagine being that child listening to that story, and then just use the power of your imagination to imagine leaping into the storybook and finding yourself in that town, searching for that still pond and staring into the still pond, perhaps with a wise old turtle nearby. And as you stare into the still pond, breathing deeply, feel a calming wave wash over you, easing any tension and allowing your words to flow freely, just like a river finding its natural path. Every time you speak, trust that your mind and body are harmoniously working together, guiding each word effortlessly. Use the power of your imagination to visualize a pathway in your mind, bright and clear, representing your ability to communicate smoothly. With each word you utter, this pathway grows stronger and more vibrant. And maybe you can remember a time when speech came naturally to you, and let that feeling of ease grow bigger until it envelopes your very soul, guiding you back to that space of effortless communication. Each conversation you engage strengthens your neural connections, reminding your body of its innate ability to speak fluently. Because you possess a deep well of confidence within, and with each word you draw from that reservoir, speaking with clarity and precision. And perhaps you can imagine your words as floating leaves on a calm stream, drifting smoothly and unhindered, knowing exactly where they're meant to go. Trust that your subconscious mind holds the blueprint for fluent speech, that it's consistently guiding and supporting you as you tap into this natural rhythm. In fact, the more that you trust in your ability to speak, the more you'll find words aligning perfectly, creating a harmonious dance of expression. And don't be surprised if you notice that with every conversation, stutters become rarer, like fading shadows being replaced by the bright light of your confidence. Your body and mind are equipped with an innate wisdom, and they remember the ease and joy of fluent speech, guiding you back to that state. Just as you can't forget how to walk, how to talk, how to ride a bike, trust that your mind already knows how to speak fluidly, confidently. And imagine that each day brings countless opportunities to reinforce your fluency. And with every interaction, you're rediscovering the rhythm of seamless conversation. Any stutters are no longer a big deal. Think of those things in life that really don't bother you. Shadows don't bother you. The odd sprinkle of rain doesn't bother you. And from this point forwards, stutters won't bother you either. As you look forward, visualize a future where stuttering is but a distant memory, and feel the pride and joy, but without any weight of expectation, that accompanies this vision. Feel how good it would feel to celebrate every word, every sentence, and every conversation, for they are all stepping stones leading you towards complete fluency. Trust that with every sunrise, you are moving closer to a world where your speech is unhindered, clear and confident, leaving the stutters behind in the shadows of the past. As you imagine yourself there standing behind that still reflective water of the pond, imagine seeing someone that looks just like you, having a fluid, confident conversation with no stutters whatsoever. See yourself as someone else, confidently communicating with no stutter whatsoever. See yourself in situations where you would normally stutter, but now in this vision, you see yourself without stuttering at all. Feel how good it feels to observe someone that looks just like you, completely stutter-free. And then, when you're confident that that version of you is without stutters, imagine climbing into that version of you, feeling how good it would feel to feel the words leave your lips, your mouth, with no stutters whatsoever. Allow this to be your playground of imagining all different situations where you get to talk just in your imagination, getting used to the idea of talking without stuttering. As time goes on, it gets easier and easier until reality and your imagination become exactly the same. Consider what you're observing and experiencing as like an architectural blueprint. You have to see it, feel it, and experience it before you can build it in reality. So imagine all those things, the places, the people. Feel how you would feel being in those situations, communicating stutter-free, building up those neural pathways where this is just a stepping stone towards reality. Feel yourself leaving this imagination, standing there by the pond, and then walk away from the pond and the turtle, and then perhaps find yourself jumping out of a book into a child's body. But imagine you're returning without any of the stuttering that haunted you in the past. That the stutter-free version of you is what's returning to reality, priming you to have less stutters and more victories. As you breathe in and breathe out, return to the present, accepting that everything so far has been a combination of thoughts within thoughts, ideas within ideas, stories within stories, and dreams within dreams. As you fully return to the present, taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, fully returning to the present as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.